make it tangle. My good money. My good money. My good money. I'm making money, my thug.
This podcast or broadcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, health, tax, or professional advice. Always consult a licensed professional for specific advice related to your situation. Thank you.
You're now tuned in to the Mic'd Up Money Radio Show, where faith meets finance and real talk fuels your comeback. This isn't hype, it's healing. This isn't theory, it's transformation. If you're building a brand, a vision, or trying to get back on your feet, this show is your reset button. Welcome to the table where entrepreneurs talk money with clarity, courage, and conviction. Let's get mic'd up.
Hello, this is Zephyr from Mic'd Up Money, and welcome back today. Today's conversation, we're going to be talking about pursuing your dreams. Everybody says they have a dream, but when it comes to the fear, the bills, the pressure, and the second thoughts, a lot of people stop their dreams. And I have Miss Cunningham here today. She's a native Memphian, and she's in New York, and she's pursuing her dream in fashion. And so, because everybody says they want this, what does it really cost to really pursue your dreams, and what's the real price that nobody really warns you about?
Well, I'm in design, so the cost can be very, very high depending on what you're interested in doing. For me, my personal journey was coming up here for school, so I had that as kind of I guess, a shield or a buffer between me and the real world because I was still in college, learning classes, living, off campus, but still having that kind of safety net that I was able to pursue my dream for. But upon graduating, obviously bills and, real like adult, responsibilities as well as trying to pursue that dream can be very, very costly. So I have started a design consulting firm where I work with designers who are looking to start their brand and don't really know where to go or how to do it. So I work with those brands on developing their garments, developing tech packs, basically just getting them to the point where they're ready for manufacturing.
Okay, so considering the cost, what was the biggest cost? Was it financially? Was it being lonely, downing yourself, or outgrowing people?
I definitely think that it's a combination of all of those things. They all kind of get to you at different moments or all at the same time sometimes. But for me, thankfully, I had support from like family, scholarships, et cetera, that like helped with like the financial burden of it all. And also loans. So now I'm facing paying back my loans and everything. But that whole like kind of mental battle that you kind of have as someone you're not from this place, you really don't have any connection to anybody. You're trying to establish a life while missing the life that you used to lead because it was easier. It was something that you were used to. So obviously anytime you're out of your comfort zone, you're going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be a lot of growth to be done. And with that, I think that the most important thing you can do is to never lose sight of like your goals, your dreams, and who you are as a person because it's New York City. There's always going to be somebody who's more talented than you. There's always going to be somebody who has an opportunity that you want that you may not get or you have to work extremely hard to receive. There's always going to be something. So if you're always focused on something else, you're never going to be able to fully achieve any dream that you have because you're always worried about what other people have going on or what you don't have or something like that. So I think that it's just best to just kind of keep this tunnel vision.
Okay, so did moving to New York make you better? I just suppose where you were still weak at. I tell entrepreneurs all the time that complain about Memphis. I say if you can make it in Memphis, you can make it anywhere because a lot of the connections, a lot of the collaborations we don't have here. So what do you think made you better and what did it expose to you where you were weak when you went to New York?
Honestly, I fully agree with the sentiment. If you can make it in Memphis, you can make it anywhere. I started my design journey in Memphis. I didn't start when I got to New York. I've been designing and into fashion, knitwear, and all of that since I was about 11 years old. So when I was in Memphis, I did Memphis Fashion Week. I took a course at Memphis College of Art in partnership with the Memphis Fashion Week. So I did a business and fashion design course. that really kind of launched my knowledge and a lot of things that gave me a very huge head start when I did end up relocating to New York for school. So I think that being able to adapt to the surroundings that you're in, because moving to New York is just not going to be feasible for everybody. It is extremely expensive. It's very isolating, and sometimes it's just not going to happen, or any city for that matter. So to be able to want your dream so bad that you're able to make it happen wherever you are is, I think, the biggest key to being successful.
So, as a follow up, what did New York pull out of you that Memphis could not?
I think that Memphis kept me very comfortable and very grounded in a sense that I was, like I said, very comfortable here. All my family is here. All of my friends at the time were here. Everything that I had ever known was in Memphis. So having to come and really fully rely on myself and who I was as a person really pushed like my drive and my desire to that I want this. Like, this is what I want for real. I'm willing to make this sacrifice of, missing family events or holidays, birthdays, whatever, for this dream that I have, because I believe so much in this and in my abilities and my skills that this is exactly what I want and I'm going to pursue it no matter what.
Okay, so when my daughter was younger, I kind of used to send her out of town for the summer so I can get her away from Memphis because basically I was born in Memphis, I live in Memphis, and I haven't been out of Memphis as far as living, and I didn't want her to feel like she was stuck somewhere. I want her to feel the challenge of being out of town, not having the support system, but also having the opportunity presented to her that she could be successful, that she may not be able to get in Memphis. So when you were doing your decisions to try to see whether you wanted to stay in Memphis or go outside of Memphis, what was the main thing that propelled you to go to New York or go out of town?
For me, I feel like I always knew eventually I would leave Memphis because I've always been very design inclined, and I've been making stuff I've just been very creative like my whole entire life. Like, that's all I've known, that's all I've been able to do. And so New York was always kind of like the end goal for me. So it was never really a decision of like if I would go, it was more so when. And college, of course, came, and I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology, which is the number one fashion school in America for like design and that type of line of work. So when I got in, for me, it really wasn't a question of like, am I going to go here? Am I not? It was, I'm going. Like, the acceptance rate is very crazy, and the education that I knew that I would receive was the complete driving factor, because I could have stayed here and figured it out and kind of got that, but to go to a place where you know that you're going to have a connection to the industry that you want to go into, and just the knowledge. Like, honestly, my time at FIT was filled with obvious like classes and things like that because it's college, but all of the information and industry connections and resources that were available to me and still are as an alum, I immediately knew that that's what I wanted.
Okay, so what do you think is the biggest lie people tell themselves when they say, I'm chasing my dream?
I think the biggest lie kind of starts with the idea of your dream. I think anytime that your dreams are based solely in, I'm going to make a lot of money and live my life, and the dream's kind of secondary to the money, I think that's when it starts to unravel. I, of course, would love to and have to make money off of design and this whole life that I've chosen. But for me, it really is not about the money. I genuinely love everything that I do. Like, I want to do this every day I wake up. I'm not gonna say I always want to get to work and do the designs for other people and work on their stuff, but like at the end of the day, like, I wouldn't rather do anything other than this. And I think for certain people that's not true. So they're kind of more so lying to themselves, because, everyone I think wants to be like in like the music industry. Everybody wants to rap or everybody wants to sing, but is that really what you want to do, or do you like the lifestyle that surrounds what your dream has? If that makes sense.
I know I met this old preacher. I was trying to give him an excuse why I couldn't come back to his 2-night revival. He just looked at me and asked me one question: how bad do you want it? And I thought about that all the time. I was giving the Lord all these conditions I needed to have to go back by myself the next night. mysteriously enough, all the conditions were met. So I came back, and then he saw me. He said, "Memphis, you in the house?" I said, "Yes," because I want it real bad. And I think that a lot of times when people are challenged, the truth really comes out that they really didn't want it. And, are you willing to suffer for it? Are you willing to cry over it? Are you willing to stay up all night for it? Are you willing to be hungry for it? And a lot of people will say no because they like the image of it, but they don't like what it takes actually to make it work.
Exactly.
Yeah. But what part of your old self had to die for the version that you are today that exists now?
For me, I think the doubting and like for myself, like I said, when you're up there and you're in the classroom full of all like it's really okay. I have started like getting into the school. So getting into the school is amazing. You have that euphoric rush, like you're so excited, you're looking forward to everything, you're feeling on top of the world, you're so confident in your skills and your abilities because you got into the best school. But when you get there, you realize everybody else got into the best school. They all have the same, if not better, skills and talents and history than you. Like it's kind of trying to fight that imposter syndrome feeling of, oh wow, like maybe I'm not the best in the room. Like I might have, been the best when I was back at home, but now I'm on a national stage with the best from literally all over the world. It's a crazy feeling, and it's honestly something that held me back for a long time during my college career. It's just like, do I deserve to be here? Am I doing enough to stay here? Like, is this even worth it? Am I going to make it out on the other side with a job or with a career, or am I going to be like left behind because I don't have what I think my neighbor has? Which just kind of goes back to the Bible and like coveting. Like I feel like for the longest time I was coveting opportunities or projects like, oh, why didn't I think of that, or why didn't I do this, or why didn't I, like I hate that she did this, I wish that I did this, I want to take that from her. Coveting other people's opportunities, ideas, lifestyles, and all of that is just something that's going to always push you back and hold your dream off for as long as you're willing to keep up with that desire of like wanting what other people have. So when I kind of let go of self-doubt and coveting what other people have, I really did notice like a full like kind of 180 and how my trajectory and my career was going.
It kind of reminds me when I was in high school. I could have went to Fraser, and I could have been maybe the valedictorian or somebody real high, high status there, or I could choose to go to Central, which is a college prep school. Now I went there, and I tied for 49 out of 403 or 406 students, and I had a 3.8095 because they rounded out to 4 digits. But it was tough there, but I would rather have reality than a fantasy, because a lot of times people love environments where they can succeed, whether environments that can challenge them. But that helped me when I went to college, because when I decided to go to college, everybody wanted to go to all these different colleges, and I decided to go to University of Memphis, which was Memphis State at the time. And they said, why? I said, because they have the best accounting lab or computer lab in the region. I can train on Macs and PCs. But I think that whole experience made me a stronger person. And I began to identify who I was. And I got a strong sense of self, and I got a sense of direction of what I wanted for myself, which I think is very important, that maybe a lot of people do not have. Because when they talk about the imposter syndrome, I know everybody likes to use that, but to me, if I can do it, I can do it. It's like being a fish in water. It's like breathing air. I'm not going to say why or how I'm doing it. I just know I'm doing it. And if I feel like I'm not doing it good enough, I can go back and try harder. But it's just do it. That's my thing. Just do it. But how do you know you're pursuing purpose? Or are you just chasing applause?
I'm definitely I know I'm pursuing my purpose because I mean, this is something that I want. I've talked to God about this dream that I have, like if it's actually what I'm meant to be doing, especially like when you're unsure of if this, like when stuff isn't lining up the way that you want, like the jobs, internships, and all of that. Having those conversations and being able to fully trust in God's plan and vision for your life, and knowing this is what I'm meant to be doing. I'm not in it just for the end goal of fame and fortune. I don't care if I'm never famous off of becoming a designer. I don't care if I'm like a Gucci or a Givenchy or I have this big name. I truly don't care. I absolutely enjoy and love where I'm at right now. And if I don't elevate beyond this and it's just where I'm at, I'm going to be okay with that. I really do just love design. Like, even if this wasn't my career and I had to do a full pivot, I still would be designing, whether that's for me or for family or anything like that. I would still be doing this.
It's kind of funny because it kind of reminds me about consulting. When I decided I wanted to do business consulting, I said, you know what? I'm going to keep learning stuff, whether people pay me or not. I'm going to keep looking for stuff. I'm going to keep doing things to challenge me, whether people pay me or not. It's a pleasure that people do pay me because it helps me to pursue my dreams better and further. I'm going to do it because I love doing it. I just like I said, it's passion and purpose once you know who you are. But what keeps you grounded and helps you in during times of challenge?
Definitely just my faith, like being in church, talking to fellow believers, my friends who have that same spirituality as me, just kind of keeps everything together, like talking to my mom, all of those things. Like, I feel like I'm very simple in that, like, everyone kind of has those, like, oh, I talk to my friends or, everything like that to kind of keep me grounded. Because, I mean, for me, that was like all that I had, like phone calls and conversations with people in that sense, because I was thousands of miles away from home. Nobody here that I really knew enough to kind of lean on or that I felt comfortable enough to lean on for a little bit. But once I finally like got my village around here, like I definitely feel much more at home than I did 5 years ago. I feel much more supported and grounded, just making sure to keep those relationships as open as possible.
I know for myself, I remember my bookkeeping teacher, Miss Jones, and I used to tell her all the time I was going to be a billionaire, and she said, "You know what? I believe you." Doing times 1,000, I remember that. Then I used to have this elder at the church I used to go to when I was younger. He used to tell me, you can do anything you put your mind to." And I think that people underestimate what good teachers can do to people's and children's lives. If they have good people that encourage them, that makes them feel like they have something inside of them that's special, that's dynamite, that if they just use it, they can overcome any obstacle and just blow it up or go over it. But it's just different. Well, have you ever thought about compromising your dream for money? And what makes you stay true to your vision?
Feel like for me, the only compromise is actually just doing the work and putting myself out there to work. Like, consulting really isn't the desired like career that I would like to end up in. I would like to just design for one company and that be my thing. So the compromise and that is that I'm still doing what I want. Like, I'm still doing design. I'm still working on tech packs and flats and materials, textiles, and all of those things. But I still have the flexibility and financial freedom to be able to work on my end goal and like applying for the jobs and interviewing and being able to support myself through that.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this question right here. What would you tell the person who feels like to pursue their dreams, they have to move? What would you be your conversation if they called you up and say, "Hey, what I know you did it. What is the thing that I need to know that moved you to do it?"
Honestly, I've had this conversation with a bunch of different people regarding different career choices and paths and things like that. If there's an opportunity for you that is going to get you closer to what you want that you do not have access to in your current location, wherever that is, and you have the means to go, especially if it's school, especially if it's just a learning opportunity that you are going to get the best or the top of the line or something that's going to be like very beneficial to you, you need to go. I think that you can make your dreams happen wherever you are with a lot of just hard work and like tenacity. But if you have the opportunity to go somewhere, go. It doesn't mean that you have to stay there forever. It does not mean that that's your new location and that's where you want to be. I don't plan to stay in New York forever, honestly. So for me, it's always about the educational opportunity or why am I going to do this? I'm not going to just up and move somewhere else just because I woke up one day and I said, I wonder what living in the south of France is going to be like. That's not my personality. That's not who I am. I have to have a plan. I have to have a reason, and everything needs to align enough for me to want to move myself, and everything I need and want, and all of the moving parts have to move in alignment. But if, let's say, if somebody's interested in pursuing fashion specifically and they want to come to New York and they think this is the best place for them to be to get into that. If you're not coming up here to educate yourself or learn things, you can come up here for a trip. You can come up here, source for a week, and then go back home and start working there. I don't think that it's ever imperative for you to move a whole location unless there is an opportunity for you there.
Okay. Well, did you ever have a moment where you thought this dream may cost too much?
I don't think I've ever had the feeling that I don't want to pay for my dream or make the sacrifices for my dream. I feel like everything has been worth it. Are there things that maybe if I had the opportunity to go back and change and do better? Yes, but I can't. Honestly, I think it's all been fully worth it.
I know you hear this from Memphis all the time. Why do you want to stay up there with the rats, the high cost of living, and everything that goes on in New York?
Honestly, I love New York. I tell people all the time, especially when I left, because everyone is like, "Oh, good, you left Memphis." I don't personally feel that way. I absolutely love Memphis, and I would, when established, go back. Like, I think that they're both great places, and they both have contributed to my growth and who I am as a person in such distinct ways that I absolutely love and adore both places. New York, staying up here is because I have the opportunity. I'm actively interviewing. I'm doing all of the things that I need to do to further my career. So this is where I need to be at the moment. Thankfully, I've never seen a rat in my apartment or very close to my apartment, only on the subway. So that's okay. It's an adjustment. New York is not for everybody. That's why I say don't move here unless you're sure, because it is a adjustment. It is a labor of love, and you have to have that desire to want to be here.
Okay, let me ask you something. Everyone says that talent is overrated, but it's the discipline to survive that helps build your dreams. Have you ever witnessed someone who was probably more talented than you, but they had less hustle and they couldn't make it?
That's very different for fashion because you have to have the discipline and you have to be able to make it work. But after a certain point, it becomes less so about discipline and talent and more so, are you going to show up? Is this what you're going to do? It just kind of all falls away. Like, I think that you have to have both, but someone who just has the talent versus less discipline can still find some type of success. It might not be exactly what they want, but they're still going to be able to have something in the industry because talent is very, very important. It's create a career versus someone who maybe lacks in the talent but has the discipline and the drive. They're going to end up with a job could be even better than the person with a little bit more talent just because they are going to be there every single day and they're willing to learn and they're willing to grow in that position.
Okay. Is there anything you had to unlearn to stop thinking small to pursue your dreams?
I think that's more so like a personal one where I had to force myself to still live and enjoy life in a whole new city, especially in an apartment where my entire life, I never had to go to a laundromat. I was always at home. But to be in New York and to not have in unit or at least an in building unit laundry is so difficult here. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's really the thing I had to unlearn is that I have to do it and I have to get over it. Because if there's none in your building, you have to walk to the nearest laundromat. And that is a lot of close you have to walk there because there's no cars. There's no cars, guys. It's just you and however much laundry that you had. So that was that was like honestly the biggest adjustment that I think I had to make. That and grocery shopping. I think to like, cause you think about it, you have like a cart, you go to Walmart, you get all your groceries, you put them in the cart, and then you go to the car, you load it up, and then you drive home. There's first of all, there's no Walmart. So trying to find where you're gonna go get your groceries from, and then also getting enough just for the week and having to consistently do like tasks like that like every week because you cannot take everything with you. Just that type of like little like life adjustment things. And I think those are the biggest things that kind of deter people from pursuing their dreams, not just like laundry and groceries, but like little life adjustments that you're not used to making that you have to turn off in your mind. Like, you know what? It's a sacrifice. I'm going to make it and I'm going to do it because this is what I want ultimately.
Okay. Well, what was the moment that made you realize I actually belong here?
I think for me, it was my associate's graduation. We had our capstone class and they select which garments they want to feature in like one of our art and design galleries. And it's like a big glass building. It faces the street. The street is super busy. People come from all over to come look at like we have a museum on campus and it's across the street. So they come to the museum and they can still see like the artwork of the students in this gallery. And I think that the moment that I got accepted into the gallery for my piece was just very confirming that I was doing the right thing and I had all of my hard work is paying off and I'm meant to be here, which is what kind of inspired me and drove me to continue my education there beyond my associates to get my bachelor's and all of that. So that was an amazing moment.
Okay. The segue to that is, I guess the reverse of that is, what was the most humbling part of building your dream?
Honestly, being a student, being an art student is, I think, far, far more different than being in school for like almost anything else because it's just if you're in school for like, if you're going to school for like medicine or something like that, there's a right way and there's a wrong way. This is it. You have to do it by the book and there's no interpretation and this is how I feel. This is the facts. You have to stick to the facts. With design, it's your own creative vision and your professor can either understand that and want to go help you fully dive into that and go forward, or they're going to hate it and then they're not going to really want to talk to you and help you the rest of the semester. Their advice just isn't as good as and impactful as what you're hearing them tell your other classmates because they actually like their project versus your project. This is just kind of like to them. And you can't change that. You can't make them like what you're making. You can't make them like your design aesthetic because it's a taste thing. I don't like everything that all of my classmates did, and they didn't like my stuff sometimes either. So that is just like the biggest thing for me where it's just like, wow, dealing with people who just don't like what I do. And how do we navigate that? How can I still get the education and the information that I need to achieve what I'm doing when this person is like, this is not it?
Okay. I guess that's the thing. I never did like subjective courses where someone actually could just independently judge, how you did, like art or any of those creative things, speech. Because if they don't like you, they just don't like you. So how did you deal with that?
See, I wish that I could say that I have an answer for that. I think that I never truly dealt with it. It's just one of those things where you have to move forward. Like, it's a mental thing. Like, I can sit here and cry and be upset because I can tell that I'm being treated differently, whether that's for my professor not liking what I made or it's been a racial thing. It's been, every sense of everything, honestly. So for me, it was like I can either sit here, dwell on this and be upset about it and be in my feelings and let it affect my work, or I can move forward, read this syllabus, understand what my final project has to be and make sure that my final project meets every, check mark on that list. So that way, whether or not you like it, it is still correct by the book. It's just my interpretation of the book.
Okay,
And
so
that's kind of like being secure in yourself. Like I did this. This is what these were the requirements. It's done. You don't have to like it, but it is correct.
so in these last moments before we close this episode, tell us about your business and why did you transition into being an entrepreneur, and tell us your strong points and what you like about it, and tell us some things that you're still working on.
Yeah, so right now I am a design consultant and tech pack creator. So for those that don't really know anything about the world of fashion, all of your clothing is really kind of made digitally first. So it's like a big full measurement sheet and everything kind of falls in order from there when you go to a manufacturer. So I create like black and white flat sketches of garments. So when a designer comes to me and it's like, oh, I have this garment in my head, I need to get it out. Like I have kind of a poorly drawn, figure of it. I can take that and translate it into something that you can send to a factory or a manufacturer so that way they can actually create what your idea and what your dream is. So I do that, as well as just design consultations for like brands. Like they have a collection that they want to do and they're kind of stuck, or they're not sure where to go from like concept to final projects or even illustrations and things like that. So that's kind of where I'm more so like an assistant in that sense. So I just kind of help. But the biggest challenge that I've honestly faced is just working with people, because working with people can be pretty difficult. But I think that it's something that is so important that I still love it, even though I kind of hate it a little bit. Just being able to communicate and get that design out, because clothes can be very, very difficult to create. Like there's so many different rules and things that are just like stuck in my brain that I know how, like I know how to do it. And if I'm working with a designer who's not as formally trained or has no training or nothing that they know about, it's a huge learning curve, because they don't understand like the foundations of building a garment from scratch. So trying to make sure their design is being heard, as well as the garment is going to have some, solid construction, is the biggest kind of challenge and frustration that I have, because trying to communicate that with people sometimes is very difficult.
So what's the name of your company?
Right now, I'm just contracting out of my own name, so Kira Cunningham. I'm not really at the place where I think that I want to take this to it being a full-blown like company and process. So I just kind of like independently contract out to different people.
Okay, so they have to really know you to get you to employ you, right?
Mm-hmm. So right now it's mostly word of mouth, people who find me off of LinkedIn, and then a couple of like freelance sites that I post to.
Okay, so I did my little research. What does size inclusive and sustainability focus means to you?
So the fashion industry is very set on a certain size standard that I don't enjoy at all. I don't think that it works. Our average size for a woman is like, I think, a 14 or a 16, somewhere in there. I don't even think it's that. I might be like a 18, 20 almost. Yet the size that we designed to is, I believe, like a 6. So that's crazy size difference. So being able to like design for everybody is very important, because a lot of people cannot design for every single body, whether that's plus size, someone with a disability, like they're in a wheelchair or they're bedbound or anything like that. Being able to design for everybody, I think, is very important. And then, of course, sustainability. The world is on fire. We already know that. Like, we're in a sustainability crisis, and making sure we're using materials that can, be biodegradable, that they will eventually no longer be on this earth, not using like man-made materials that are going to stay here forever, like plastics and all of those things. Just trying to not contribute to the growing number of like textile waste.
Okay, so is there any final words you'd like to say before we close out this session?
Chase your dreams. Honestly, chase your dreams within reason. Make sure you have a plan and do it.
All righty. That being said, this is Ephraim Simmons again. I'm your business strategist for Mic'd Up Money. Ending this episode here, and we want to thank Miss Cunningham for coming on the show and giving us her experiences. Again, we want to encourage you to reach your dreams and to continue to reach for the stars. That being said, goodbye.
That's a wrap for this week on Mic'd Up Money. Don't forget to grab your free tools at micdupmoney.com. Follow us at Mic'd Up Money on all social platforms, and keep taking your next right money move. Until next time, stay reset, stay ready, and stay mic'd up.